How's it going, everyone? Everyone's that's staying tuned here. If you're just stopping by, thank you. The dev stream is about to go live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest Gears 5 developer stream, coming at you from two locations again across Vancouver, BC. I'm TC Octus, I'm the community manager here, and I'm at the studio right now. And then below me is Mr. not in hierarchy, but in the camera feed, is Mr. Dana Sissons, Director of Communications. Thanks for being with us. I know
All
we've
right,
had a
guys.
few
Thank you,
coming.
everyone, for stopping by. Definitely means a
For a
lot.
while on the Gears stream, we'll be doing the tactics one and stuff like that. Trying to come at you as much as we can.
What's up, Stone Lion?
Thanks for joining us.
How's it going, Andrew? Thank you, everyone, for stopping by.
How you doing, Dana?
Let's sit back and relax and enjoy this dev live stream.
It's shipping a game right on top of another game, like relatively speaking. It's a thing. So we were wanting to make sure we were giving a lot of love to tactics, and obviously people are loving it, and it's proving to be very popular, and it's great. We're so excited about.
Wait, please, only Gears 5. I have plans for my life, thanks. You can join us by messaging TC space Octus, so that's a space as in space, not as in the word space. By messaging TC space Octus with the words invite or IMV, whatever you want to do, and we'll get you in here and we'll play some games with you.
Yes. So the one thing that I'd like to talk about is I'm seeing questions around maps, I'm seeing questions around characters, I'm seeing questions around ranked, I've seen questions around matchmaking, I'm seeing questions around Twidash Pi 44 is like, I want Gears Tactics for Xbox One. I will say that right now. I want Gears Tactics for Xbox One. I am an avowed console gamer, and I can't not wait to play Tactics on the preferred platform that I have. So for me, it is something that I am super excited about playing on, and it is coming. It'll be out later this year, so stay tuned for more details when we talk about that.
Yep.
But Liam, question for you is we also dropped a new controller scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, I can actually bring it up in here while we can talk over it. Give me a second. Because I might actually use it on stream for the first time.
Oh my God.
This weekend. So yeah, here you go. So the new control scheme is called Shooter. If you haven't already seen it, we actually added it sneakily in 5.1, but 5.1.1 activated it because we want to fix a bug with it first. But Shooter is something we're trying to do in terms of delivering a control scheme that's a little bit closer to what you experience in other shooter games today. But still retains that Gears feel, like not go full judgment with it, so to speak, and try and find a middle ground, and also try something that gives you more control. So it actually splits roadie, evade, and cover actions into 3 different buttons, so you can make sure you never misroll when you're actually going for cover, stuff like that.
Do you want to talk? I mean, maybe for people that don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone is here, but so. Let's go through. So take cover is easy. That's sliding into cover. That's what you're going to use to wall bounce, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And then evade is
rolls. Only rolls.
Is your rolls. Evade's only your rolls. And then Y is just Y. And then we've got reload is now moved to X instead of RB.
Yep. Yeah, so you mark with the right bumper as well.
Yeah.
And then the roadie runs on left click, which is a big change. The idea is that like you won't, with this control scheme, like kind of like tournament, but to the next level, you won't really, unless you're trying to roll, ever have to take your thumbs off the thumbsticks. And you've got a lot more precision control because of that, obviously, during like bouncing and stuff like that. But also, and this is one of the big things, is that by having, it's kind of like shooting and like attacking actions on the right, and then kind of movement actions on the left, other than the evade. So it has kind of a bit more of a like clear synergy between what each hand should be doing, and they kind of like less crossover.
Yeah.
We've had some really good feedback on it so far. One of the big things as well is that Gears traditionally throughout its history has used press on release. So basically, when I press the A button down, it's only when I let go of the A button that I roll, or I slide, right? Or that, you know, because of that also, it's also going to allow a little bit more time to check if I'm holding A and I want to roadie. What this does is it's on press. So basically, as soon as the button is depressed, it's going to like give that little bit of extra time to check if I'm roadieing. But if I just tap it, it's going to know immediately, like on the press, that I want to slide, and it's not going to kind of have that extended wait that you have with the other schemes, where, you know, it's waiting for you to release it, otherwise it's assuming you want to roadie. So it's going to feel a lot more responsive for people that prefer that. And like if you feel like you can handle that, and like, you know, it feels natural to you, great. It's not the norm. The classic alt scheme uses it, and that's why people do the re-scheme thing. So this is the second scheme that's used that. And then we're talking about potentially having a toggle so you can apply it to other control schemes as well.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I've played with it a bit. I've been busy. I haven't had a chance to play a bunch of games this week, or since it's come out. It's a struggle for me only because you have so much muscle memory. Like, I know when I went from regular controllers to tournament because it was going to be easier. It took me like a month of going backwards to like learn how to play. So I have to sort of relearn the whole movement again. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try it live on stream and see what happens. It's probably going to go terribly because I don't even play tournament. I play default with paddles, so using LB to bounce is going to probably throw me for a loop. In fact, I might warm up. I might warm up first before switching into this, actually, because I haven't had a chance to play much either lately.
Yeah, it's one of those ones for me is like I know that like you have to sort of stick with it. When I changed from regular to tournament, it was really frustrating for about a week, and then I got used to it and it felt better. And then I felt like I could, like I wasn't making the mistakes of just pressing the wrong button. And then once I figured out about that, then I was able to start playing at a level that was better than what I was at before. But it just took a little bit. Definitely worth working at it. So
I think like, let's obviously get talking on to issues. You guys want to talk about a lot of the things that are going on.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about, I'm seeing a lot of people saying about ranked. Do you want to talk a little bit about the status on ranked?
Ranked. So rank's a hard one, only because where we are is we recognize that the current rank system has its issues. We know that there is frustration because people don't know what they need to do to go up, and they don't understand why they go down at times. So that confusion is creating, from what I can see from what people are saying, is the biggest aspect of it. It's like I went and I did well in a match and I thought I should have gone up, but I stayed the same, or I went down. And then we try to do a fix in where we bumped it so people were going up on a win, even if they didn't deserve to, based on the traditional pointing system of individual performance in that. But that was creating a lot of inconsistencies around scores and people not going up and that kind of stuff. So we removed that very quickly because we saw that our workaround wasn't something that wasn't satisfactory. So with all that being said, we've looked at it and we've thought, okay, how do we go and build a rank system that somebody can pick up and play and understand why I'm going up and why I'm going down? And we don't want to make the rank system. So I know that we're getting accusations of the game is being made easy and so on and so forth. And I don't want people to think that this is something that has anything to do with that. This is very much about people being able to sit down and go into a match and be like, I know if I do X, I'm going to go up, and if I know that if I don't, then I'm going to go down.
Yeah. So like I think like it's not about the it's not about people complaining that it's difficult to go up. It's the fact that the experience of going up sucks, right? Is the better way to think about it with the current system.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So we just want people to understand that. So the new ranking system is being worked on, and we're going to go into a lot more details once we reveal. But I just wanted to let people like understand kind of what was that framework of which we were moving from to what we're moving towards.
Yeah.
And that's that satisfying of where we want it to be. And we feel like once that happens, and because it's so central to the game, and I think people are like, why is this taking so long? And can you just fix it? And blah, blah, blah. Once we sort of made the commitment to updating rank, and really that decision was made, I don't even know how long ago
It was
now.
early in the year. It was like, what, February?
It was
late February,
right,
early March, I think.
Yeah,
in terms of a full overhaul, like a
it was late February, and we'd gone through, and there was a bunch of stuff inside of that. We had a big summit for the game, and there was a bunch of things that we mapped out, but that didn't feel satisfying, that people weren't happy with. That was when we talked a little bit about us deprioritizing tiles and going to start making more maps, so more map production is going to be taking place, that kind of stuff. So a lot of those decisions were made, and now where we're at is such that the rank system, because like the analogy I like to use is if you build a house, you've got things that are like superfluous, unnecessary walls that are just walls, and then you've got things that are load-bearing walls. And if you want to take out a wall between your bedroom and your closet, it's not a load-bearing wall, it doesn't really matter. If you want to take a load-bearing wall out of your house will fall down. So for us, and ranked is so central to the game, we couldn't just take ranked out and then work on it. We had to kind of go and there was so many knock-on aspects of the side of that, which is why it's taken longer. Plus, if we were going to go and replace it with something, we wanted to make sure that we come up with a system that, I mean, no system is going to be perfect. We wanted to have a system that really managed a lot of the concerns that people were talking about. So that's kind of where we are. So I wish I could give more details on what that's going to look like. Dana's house building tips. Thanks, God couple. But I do want to get in, and I want to talk a little bit about what that is. But right now we're not. And what we will do is we'll have Jote on, who Jonathan Taylor, who is the lead multiplayer designer. He will come on, and he was a central person in this ranked overhaul, and we'll let him talk about what his vision is, next steps of where we want it to go, and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we are with the rank stuff.
Yeah,
now,
and like just to add to that, I saw some people being like, "Oh, it's been 7 months. Like, how is it not right and stuff?" Sometimes in games, and it can happen in anything. Like, the system itself is at least from a data standpoint, is actually very accurate in terms of its matching. What we didn't know is that this experience just wouldn't be good enough. And the thing is that the reason it's taking so long isn't so much because of, it's like, oh, we've been kind of slow off the mark. It's that we tried to improve the system as it was, and we've taken a decision to completely overhaul it and relook at it. And whenever you do that, like if you think about a game, this game was in production for like 3 years, right? Those features that get put into games
hey, Liam, your microphone is rubbing against your jacket or something.
Oh, is it? Sorry, but like if you look at a 3-year dev cycle, that rank system is in production. I think I've lost my mic down. Okay, I got it. Sorry, the clip's a little bit dodgy.
All right.
So you look at a ranking system that's in production for a long time in the development cycle. Yeah. Oh my God, I missed the easiest shot. But you're in production for a significant amount of time. So we've basically done that post-launch. And most games will, in a post-launch, not really revamp something. They'll try and take that foundational work that's already been built and kind of iterate on it, which is traditionally what we did, like in Gears 4 when we were kind of addressing feedback on things. Yeah. This is a real kind of go back to the drawing board. There's going to be elements of it that I'm sure will be leveraged, but it's a more extensive project because we are literally going, we hear you to the point where we're not going to try and iterate, we're going to try and like reapproach. We know the wait's frustrating, but like if we want to do something fundamentally different, it unfortunately takes a lot more time.
Well, and that was the big thing is we had a conversation of can we change, can we adjust with what we've Liam, ah, your mic.
What?
Can we?
What is it doing?
I don't. It just sounds like it's really staticky.
Weird. This might be a issue with the receiver.
Oh, it hurts. Ouch.
Sorry. Yeah, we've got some interference. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we did have conversations about is it something that we can salvage in its current form, or is the best way to provide a clear and transparent system starting from scratch? And we started from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing.
Blaze is saying it's a loose cable or it needs batteries.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's not batteries, but we'll see. I've repositioned it. If it happens again, please let me know, and I'll swap mics.
I know. I now have sympathy with the rest of the chat of whenever the mic
because you
issues
hear
are
on
happening.
Skype. sorry, chat. And the same applies with the maps. Like, I actually saw a post from B-Shaps today being like, you know, it's crazy that the coalition's production planning didn't account for more maps. And the thing was that, like, when we went into Gears 5, you know, we have like a huge suite of PvE modes. And tiles were going to be a big part of versus as well as PvE. As you remember, we talked about. Sorry, I should really focus on playing. But if you remember what we talked about, you know, even before release, we were saying there was going to be a versus map builder. And it's one of those things where, like, post-launch, like, we just listened, and instead of just going, well, we've decided to invest in this path. This is what we're doing. This is what you're going to take. You know, we're going to do the versus map builder, and we'll have more tile-based maps and stuff. The team know that that's not what you wanted, and we've learnt from it, and you know, that's why this change is coming post-launch, is that instead of, again, just sticking to our guns and going, well, this is the plan we made pre-launch, we're adapting and we're trying to make sure that we get things right. So, you know, in time, it's one of those horrible things, isn't it, Dana, where it's like, we say all these things, but only time will prove the effects of these changes, but it's just going to be a little longer, that's all. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's an important part. Is as part of that summit, we had a lot of conversations about what's working inside of the game and what do we need to reprioritize on. One of the feedback that we gave was, hey, we need more maps. That's something that we've heard loud and clear from you guys. And the production of more maps is a bit like turning an ocean liner. It's not something you can just make overnight. We've talked about how long. I mean, we've talked about how long it takes to make maps. So the team has reprioritized work around the maps, and more will be coming, but it's not something that I wish we could just snap our fingers. You know, I think, you know, if we had a bunch of maps waiting to go out, we would have put them out. We're not holding them for any other reason. We would love to put them out there. So,
yeah.
Do Kaskar, I don't, we haven't done the PvE stream yet. We have some stuff coming that we're going to talk about when we're going to bring on that, because we want to give some context of what it's going to be. So hopefully we'll be able to do the PvE stream in the next week or two. That's kind of where we're aiming from that.
I will. Just to add on that, I mean, our kind of PvE lead, Michael Shannon, kind of recently showed me a bunch of the PvE kind of changes, like change list, I guess, like the balancing and tuning changes we're going to do coming up. And they're really interesting. Like, I think, you know, we did a huge one at the start of the operation, and he's hard at work about what could come next on those tuning changes. And yeah, it's, again, like, I feel like a lot of people felt like we went forward with our changes in Op 3, and there's even more good stuff. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Are TC considering forced crossplay once Series X launches due to being the equivalent of PC? Toby, we actually haven't talked about that. So I know right now forced crossplay is something that always comes up on the stream. And it's funny because it's like a stream issue that doesn't really get talked about a ton outside of the stream, it feels like, at least not on like that I see a ton. It's not right now, it's not something that we are looking at, but also haven't discussed. So I don't know if I don't have a really good answer to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just remake Academy just into Mansion. Yeah. Well, I think that those ones always make me laugh because everybody has their favorites from previous favorites from previous Gears games. TCA stuff, guys. I know I'm seeing some TCA comments. I wish the TCA something was, but because of all the big overhaul work that we're doing right now, the TCA is just something that I wish I could say is something that is high on the list, but it just keeps getting pushed down, and it makes me sad because I love the program and I wish I could do more with it. But right now, I'll keep it real with you guys. It's something that I mean, more work needs to be done on it, and I'm perfectly willing to take that on, but it's something that we're not there just yet, just because of all the other stuff
new
we're
players
working
should
on.
be able to get in Masters games on a 30-second queue. That like the ranking system again is looking at a lot of things, and we hear your feedback on that.
Yeah. Which shows like now that Tactics is out, should we expect that TC is going to work harder on Gears 5, including all the marketing stuff you did back in Gears 5 with trailers and such? Yeah, I mean we've talked about that, and maybe you'll see something interesting next week. I don't know, possibly. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
Yeah, you might. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But
If only we knew, Dana.
but I think for us, we definitely want to make sure that we're selling the excitement and the sizzle inside of the game, and we are balancing that out. The teams that we have are having to support. We're supporting the launch of Gears Tactics. We're supporting post-launch support for Gears 5. So there's a lot of work that the team was doing inside. So that's kind of where we are with that.
I heard that Nash's getting 8 shots again. Please tell me it's going to happen. When Jamie was on the stream, we talked about that a little bit. We're considering all options.
Yeah.
With the previous balance setup and where the kind of like the kind of design goals for the gameplay experience, 6 made sense. But like as you've seen, we've kind of been doing a lot around versus as of late, and Jamie's like considering that and about like how it can sit in its place in the lineup if it had 8 shots, and if that's something that we could do. So we're definitely not close to it. It's just there is no real decision around it right now, is all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we want to look at. I mean, the bigger thing was more about the active reload that Jamie talked a little bit about where do we feel with that, and I think some of that will impact the 8 rounds more than the other. So, any thoughts of adding the customization stuff from Tactics to the main games? Well, first of all, the customization stuff in Gears Tactics is so much fun. I love the Duke Nukem. I loved all of those fun things that I'm seeing in there. I love seeing the creativity. I worked on Skate a long, long time ago, and the creativity that came out of the people for making skateboards and stuff like that cracks me up. So seeing that is great. It's a lot of work, and it's something that I don't see us being able to add into Gears 5 right now. But for future Gears games, who knows? I mean, I think people are taking note of how popular it is, and it's certainly for any future games, as any scope conversations that when they are being had, if and when they happen, would be something that that would typically when you're going into pre-pro for a game, you throw everybody throws their thing on the table of what they want it to be inside of the game, and then they start working them together, and then they figure out scope. If we do this, what does that get us? And that kind of is around there. Seeing lots of stuff about the typical aim assist, turn aim assist off in ranked. I know that Jamie had a conversation around that when he was on last time. Right now, there isn't any intent to make any changes to that. That being said, you never know.
I just want to add to one thing to what Dana said as well, which is there's an interesting challenge with the idea of that system, that because it obviously like as Gears fans ourselves, like we've talked about that as a studio. Even I remember conversations about that happening back in the Gears 4 days about like, oh, it'd be cool if like why would we do it? Something that Gears fans are huge into is characters. And so like one of the big questions around it, and it's not in any way say it's not possible, but one of the big questions around it is always, if you did a system like that, like you look at the Gears Tactics system, right? It's pretty much all kind of custom characters. But what if you want to play as Ram? What if you want to play as like, Sam Byrne or something like that, right? Like there's all these questions about like, there's people who want to play as the characters they love, and then there's people who want to customize those characters that they love. Some people want them as is, and then some people want just their own gear. So there's a lot of questions around it too about like what that experience would look like. So even just as a design idea, there's a lot there that if we went into it, it would be a very interesting thing to have to solve. And that's in no way me saying interesting as in we would never be interested in that challenge. Just that it's, there's a lot of things to think about in terms of what Gears fans love about characters. It's really interesting.
Question, Gears Charles was like, can you elaborate on the map development process? How long does it take you guys to create a map? We've done a couple of really good streams where we've had our map designers on and talk about the creation of like Foundation and ones like that. Typically a map takes around 6 months from concept to gameplay testing, to arting, to getting into the game. So it's not fast to get a game out or to get a map into the game. That is that's kind of one of the reasons, but that's why I was sort of talking about the someone's like 6 months. That sounds like a joke. Did someone just really say that? I wish I could, 6 months isn't a joke. That's like the process. I think you guys are, that sounds like a lie. Gears 4, you drop 2 maps every 2 months. Well, I seem to recall a lot of those were iterations of the same map. They weren't like a brand new map.
To be clear, his 6-month timeline is a brand new map. So as in,
yes, if we're bringing back
original design,
if we're bringing back if we're bringing back Gridiron or not Gridiron, Gridlock, then obviously that's a lot faster for that to take place. But that is that's a bit different. So 6 months is from concept to completion. That is how long it takes to make a map.
Yep.
And if we could make them faster, we would.
To be clear, that doesn't necessarily mean we're working on one map at a time.
No.
So that's not like, we can only make one map every time over 6 months. So obviously that wouldn't happen. But the arting process is definitely more restricted in terms of how many you can develop at a time. So you might have 5 or 6 map designs in flight, which are being tested daily.
Yeah.
Well, not even daily because they're rotated every day, which ones are in the multiplayer level design playtest. But and then they get playtested like crazy for a couple months before they get to a stage where we go to validation. And validation is where the rest of the studio or a wider group from the studio plays it outside of the normal test team, and kind of gives their opinion on it and kind of helps find those kinks in it that maybe people playing it all the time don't find as much. Or they're different kind of players, like maybe it's less skilled players and stuff like that getting in the mix as well, so they can give their feedback on it, on top of the high skill played in the MPLDs. And only at that point does it go into the arting process. So, just to clarify, that doesn't mean
it's not one map at a time.
One dedicated, everyone's dedicated on one map for 6 months.
6 months, but multiple maps are being worked on.
Yeah, that is the timeline of a map delivery for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. And then adding like a Gears 4 map isn't just as simple as pressing copy and paste. There is a bunch of work that we go through where we're having to relight and tweak and upgrade the art and a few things like that. So it does take a little bit more time. So when they play test QA plays out grade out blocks, shadows. Basically what ends up happening is like we were playtesting a map right before the studio shut down, and it was a map that's in design currently, and it was just a bunch of blocks. So you can see that, this is outside and this is inside, and this is sort of what it looked like, and that process. Maybe what we can do is maybe one day we'll bring a map on and we'll do a playtest session and we'll show you guys what a map looks like early on.
I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah,
I think
so maybe that's something we can show you guys sort of an early working concept of what a map could be like.
I can't believe I missed that Terminator. Having no audio. Ugh, I'm also rusty as well. I'm moving a bunch of furniture around my house right now. It's meant that I haven't had as much time to play. On top of tactics, I've been playing a lot of tactics to be fair.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
What else we got? Upgrade the art, Gears 4 checkout. You brought back, looks exactly the same. I don't know. I can't speak to specifically what it is. I do know that it's not just as copy and paste. There is work that is done to the maps. So there is a few tweaks and adjustments made to it, but I don't know off the top of my head exactly what they are. So, what did you bring? Sorry.
I would say put it this way.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know the answer to it either, but I think if the team could easily just bring them over, given the fact that we've what we put out in that message about changing priorities, we would. We should probably get an answer for you so we can probably share that, Dana. But
Yeah. I will find it. You
yeah,
know,
if it was
I
easy,
honestly,
I'm sure we'd
I
have done
remember
it.
I knew it at launch, and I just forgot, frankly. So, um, uh, so I mean, I think that that's the kind of the map. I wish I could give you guys more update on maps, but other than to say the team has pivoted towards making more maps and deprioritizing tiles. So that's kind of where we are with that. Any chance on Blacksteel making a comeback? No, Blacksteel was a. I mean, I'm going to say never because never. But Gears 4, Blacksteel was for Gears 4. Those were esports supporter content for Gears 4. So much like Chrome Steel is in this, and that's kind of where we are. Can you look into the Theron guard's head? It's currently bugged and is locked into place. I haven't heard that, but we can. Dude, Toshiro, stop asking that same question, man. I've already answered you twice inside of chat. Stop spamming. We're like flag it to support.gearsofwar.com and we will get and we'll look into it. But you've been responded. Please stop spamming the same question over and over again. Like Richo, if you're going to add Gears 4 maps, please bring back Gears 4 new maps like Diner. Everybody's got a favorite map. So yeah, I will pass that along. That Diner is high on the request from Richo. So there we go. Most people disagree with me, but I hate the drip feeding. I miss the old 360 DLC map packs. Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those ones whereas I can remember back to when maps would come out and you would get big map pack updates on like once every 6 months, and they'd be able to add a bunch of new maps to the game, and then they would move on and so on and so forth. It's tricky. People want live services game design now is so different than it was back in the day. So
yeah, and I think we know.
We know that we need more maps. Like, I mean, I think kind of like we know our rank system is not ideal, so we're fixing it. We know that you guys wanted more maps, so we're working on bringing up more maps at a faster rate. I wish we could snap our fingers and make it happen.
Yeah, I think also we know that like the idea behind operations is like great. One of the things we were trying to fix is the sustainability of Gears 4's output. The maps were a big criticism on that game for different reasons. And so we were trying to balance it so that we weren't kind of like we were putting out more, but we were doing it in bigger drops, and then there would be stuff in between that would sustain it in terms of special events and all the stuff we usually do, because the monthly effort in Gears 4 was making it much harder to deliver changes. If you notice, we've already done a lot more tuning changes to PvE and PvP, and been a lot more reactive with this way because it gives the team a bit more flexibility, and we've really been doing a lot of hotfixes lately as well. But I think we also know the downside is like the kind of cadence of the content and the amount that's happening is maybe a little bit weaker, and that's something we're aware of in the team. We've been talking about, and you're going to see more and more of how that feedback's come in. Again, we're in this horrible stage where all we can say is give it time. Your feedback's going to come to fruition.
No, I mean, I think I saw a lot of understandably frustrated comments earlier about like it's been 7 months. Stop with the excuses. I mean, the simple fact is this: we know it's been 7 months. We know that the game, as it came out, in some areas wasn't what you guys expected as a Gears game.
Yeah.
That feedback has been raised up, and that feedback has been heard. A lot of what was discussed at that summit previously. That we just referred to was taking into consideration a lot of this feedback, and a lot of the decisions that have been made that you're going to see in the coming months are going to be as a result of us trying to address a lot of the feedback that you guys put forward. So I wish we could do it as fast as we could, as fast as you guys want.
Yeah.
But it's something that we made some decisions around the type of game that we wanted to ship with, and now we're looking at it and going like, we missed the mark. Some of this wasn't exactly what you guys think of as a classic Gears experience. So now we're going back and we're saying, well, how do we go and adjust these things to make it feel like what you guys want? And I wish I could go right now and tell you we're going to do this and this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
But that's I can't.
Well, also like we're not trying to make excuses. We're trying to do the right thing. Like, um, you know, if we were trying to make excuses, we wouldn't be investing we'd just be keep pumping out new big things, and we wouldn't be investing our time into going back on things that you don't like and fixing it. We'd just be like, here's the new big thing, like go check this out or whatever, and we wouldn't kind of go backwards, so to speak. But like we feel like to go forwards, like we have to go backwards because we, like Dana said, we missed the mark on certain things, and like we're not afraid to admit that. We wish we hadn't missed the mark. Like some things were tried that have done great, and some things have been tried that haven't done as great, and you haven't been as happy with. And now it's our, like, this is for us to go back and go like, well, okay, you've purchased Gears 5 or you're playing for Game Pass. We're going to make good on this. And yeah, no one's trying to make excuses. We just want to actually address your concerns and properly, and not in like a half-cocked kind of, well, we'll meet you in the middle here sort of way.
Yeah.
We're going the full hog. Hopefully you'll feel that way.
I mean, I think Ranked is a really good example of that. Ranked came out, and Ranked was something that was on what we wanted to happen was we wanted this thing to be a true reflection of skill, and there were some technical issues that were hampering that. But one of the core issues that we couldn't mitigate was the fact that there was a black box that determined whether you went up or went down that was really not very transparent, so people didn't understand that.
Yeah.
So ignoring all of the other issues around some of the ranked stuff that wasn't working, in the end, the fact that ranked wasn't a very transparent system for what people needed to do was a big reason. So that is something, there is a perfect example of something where we designed something, there was some issues that we were working on, but then once we sat back and looked at it and were able to go and be like, is this the right feeling? No, then let's go and make some changes. And that's kind of, that's an example of something where we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Levo says, is it Levo or Livo? Levo? I don't know.
I always say Levo.
Levo, I'm assuming it's Levo. If we're saying it wrong, then I apologize.
It could be Livo. It is like,
yeah,
Livo is from the UK, right? So
yeah, I like the openness from you guys. I'm curious. I think mass feedback suggests that people are overall unhappy, but I think people, yeah, I mean, we are, like, a lot of people coming in here to vent, and I get that, and that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah.
And we do see probably as many, we see a lot of people that are happiness. We have sentiment tracking tools. There are people that are loving the game, and people enjoy the game. And he's saying, I think it's a result of considering new players, which Rod and Jimmy have said. But we're good. I think, when we were going through and we were looking at certain things inside of Gears that we added to the game, arcade is a good example. Initially arcade was thought it was going to be a mode that was going to appeal to a lot of players that were sort of new to the game based on some of the data that we learned from Gears 5. That turns out that wasn't the case. So, that's something that we're looking at it. So I think there's that, those are things inside of that, like, and we are trying to share and be that way. So
yeah, I think as well, it's important, like, it is important to think about new players in some respects. Like, if you don't think about new players, you can't ever grow Gears, and the bigger Gears gets, the better it is for everyone, right? As players, as a studio, in terms of the franchise kind of growing. And to be honest, like, as someone who was here, like, especially on a multiplayer side, kind of in a lot of the playtests, there wasn't a desire as much to, like, a lot of the things that are in the game are not there to serve new players. There was, like, consideration in places, but, like, the majority of the game, as Dana said, was actually meant to be this slower, kind of very balanced, strategically movement-based game, which is why the game at launch was slower, is it was meant to be a kind of one-tuning, kind of skill-based approach. And it's a lot of the things we tried were actually not for new players. It was the studio trying new things in general.
Yeah.
And
and I was giving arcade as an example of something that was like a way to kind of be an onboarding thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a new player. It was a broadening of the game's appeal.
Yeah. The word everyone always used to to use in terms of describing gears, even when it was kind of a like a new player thing, was just accessible. You know, like something you could pick up and kind of get a grip on. It wasn't make it easy or make it kind of you know, a non-Gears experience. It was just make it something that people could get hold of and learn to be a good Gears player and learn all those skills, right? So yeah, and you know, I think we got some things wrong on that, and we definitely got some things right as well. But yeah, it's just a common misconception. I see, at least from my experience in the studio, I never saw this kind of like make it for noobs sort of approach.
No, that I
it was
agree
more
with that,
trying
for sure.
new things that was the decision making.
Yeah. Deluxe was asking about Map Builder. It's still on the list. It's deprioritized a little bit right now as we're focusing on a lot of the other areas, Deluxe. So it's not something that we're not going to do, but it's not, we're not going to do. It's just something that right now we're really focusing on just other kind of central areas that we think are foundational to creating a broader, improved Gears experience for everybody. There we go. Can you add 8 to 10 players in FFA? Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that we've passed along and had some conversations around about for FFA of like, you know, how do we go and make FFA expanded out, and is it moving that to the 5v5 maps or whatever it is? That is something that we've had a lot of conversations around. What's at the top of the list right now? And then question mark balancing. Balancing isn't the top of the list right now. There's a couple of ranked is at the top of the list, as well as a couple of other things which I can't talk about because we haven't announced, but they're becoming an op4. Those are at the top of the list. In terms of like game and weapon balancing, that is something that is more of an iterative process. I mean, I think Wicho had a suggestion that he just pinged me about, is that I think is very accurate. Multiplayer for us is under development. It is an ongoing process to which we're improving the game. And I think, you know, for us, we're able to look at something that is not great, and are there ways that we can make it better? And that's how we're approaching really the live services aspect of the game, is how do we sit down and say, what are the areas that people are unhappy about and how we're going to keep tweaking at it? So for us, whether that's like, hey, how do we go and get more maps into the game? How do we get more of this into the game? How do we improve that? So that's kind of, that's what we're looking at. So, and then in terms of something like weapon balancing, because a lot of that is CMS updates, which is our way of saying they're server side rather than client side, so we don't need TUs. That allows us to sort of make those iterative. So, and we have teams, like we had Jamie, who was on previously, who is our weapons designer, and he looks at movement and he looks at weapons, so he can be working on getting on tweaking and adjusting the balancing of that, while we have other people that are working on designing maps, we have other people that are working on getting characters. So this isn't like the team is focused on one area, but we do bucket effort around, because then it's got to hit QA and all that. So we do prioritize big feature sets, but then there's iterative things that happen inside of the process.
I have a question for chat. From multiplayer balance, like talking about weapon tuning, or movement, what would you say is the thing you think we should be looking at the most from multiplayer weapon tuning, or just out of interest?
Yeah, I'm actually, I went quiet because I was
don't actually see a lot of consistent conversation. And
when you're saying Lancer, are you talking about like Lancer, like you guys? Because right now a lot
like
underpowered.
Like what's
the Lancer is busted, way too powerful in this game. But I'm seeing as many people that are saying love it now. Like I feel like since we made the last change to the Lancer, I personally have seen, I think Liam is the same way, like we're not seeing nearly as many people commenting about the Lancer as they were before the change.
There's a bunch of people in here though.
No, they are.
As a question for those of you saying about the Lancer, are you talking about the Lancer active or just the general Lancer? Like the Lancer as it is generally? See, I'm seeing a lot of Lancer as fine.
It's still covered. See, I feel like, and that's why Jamie was talking about, I feel like if we took the active off of the Lancer, it would actually make the Lancer a lot like it would put it into a spot that feels good.
Oh god, I missed my back A. Ooh.
Yeah, the clip is too big, but it's the I'm seeing a lot of actives. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel
Okay.
I
Yeah,
and I
because that's
think
what we're
what
looking
Jamie,
at
and
right
that's what
now. So
and that's what Jamie was talking about.
yeah.
Is he was talking about if we remove the active on a lot of that. So this is good feedback for us. Like this is helpful when the feedback is nice and focused and crystal. Then these are things that we can go back to people and say like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. So, but like you know, I mean, it looks like people are either saying Lancer is good or Lancer active is bad.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's kind of largely what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, Shadows Lancer with no active bonus would be sweet. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Okay. Can you
And then
make a
obviously
Lancer
we've got
pick up?
people out there
Oh,
who
we
aren't a
would
big
never
fan
make
of
the
the
Lancer
slow
pick up.
start movement as well. The no speed
Yeah.
boost on special actions.
No speed boost.
Yeah, well, no, as in the speed boost change that we made so that the game itself, like you feel slower until you get that roadie run, you can get those speed boosts. You can't get them off the rip anymore.
Yeah, I think there was talk about reducing the amount of time of roadie running into to get the speed bumps, speed boost to accelerate that. So rather than we still don't want you to be able to have the boost from everything that I've heard. There is no plan to have the boost happen from a standing still position, but there is a desire that we will reduce the amount of time you have to be roadie running to get the speed boost.
Yeah.
So I think there is some gameplay testing with that going on right now.
Someone's asking if we're going to return the classic Omen health. There's no plans to put development time into that as it stands.
Yeah.
Like right now, we have the Omens we have, and there's other things we want to look at, and we don't hear that much feedback on it anymore. So we feel like the simple Omen is scratching most people's itch. So, who knows in the future, but just not right now.
Seeing some questions about the Terminator and the Rev 9. There actually is a proposal right now. So because they're owned by, we have to get approvals to change the character design.
Yeah, we can't just be like, oh, they're here, so they're ours.
So, but there is a proposal that's going forward that's going to see them in a way that will help them stand out on the battlefield more.
Yeah,
so,
I saw it, and I think if it
looks
gets
great.
approved,
It
it's
looks
going to
phenomenal.
be yeah,
it looks really
it's going to make a big difference.
So, because we don't want to take them out of rank because people obviously spent money on them and that kind of stuff. But we recognize that there are times when it's dark and it's unsatisfying to have this little ninja stealth thing come out at you.
Yeah.
So, we're balancing that where we're trying a few things. So that's what we're working on.
Yeah, it's actually something we didn't think we could do, and the team were passionate about addressing it. So it kind of just, through some tenaciousness, we may be able to do it, but obviously it depends on the other factors, as Dana mentioned.
Yeah. Any chance you could add the same light of the Cyclops to the Jermod or Swarm Sniper? Oh, the laser scope. Liam, you talked about that. I haven't asked about that. Did you find anything about that?
We could ask. I don't know. Cyclops, it was kind of iconic for it, so we kind of put the time in. I don't know if we would go back to, Jamad and stuff to add it, but I don't know. We can ask, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that to be like, don't hold your breath, by the way. I'm not saying that in terms of like, oh, we shouldn't. I think we should. It'd be cool, but, in terms of the time investment, it's just more time away from other things. So.
Will you be able to get old Tour of Duty items in the future? I don't know. There's discussion in the studio about that. I think the right now we're at a point where we want those Tour of Duty items to feel like you were there. And I don't ever see a scenario by which we would be like, oh, here's the blood red speaker. Somebody can go and get him again, because that was meant to be a sort of I was there and I did the work moment. If there's something else that we could find a way that felt satisfying, that didn't feel exploitative, then maybe we would look at that, but right now we're not sure. I don't know. What would you guys think? Would you guys like us to bring back previous tour content? There is a lot of debate around it, so it's kind of there's arguments for right now I'm seeing nope, yes, nope, 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 yes, yes, don't, yes, no, yes, yes, no. So it's a hard one, right? Because we want people to feel like, oh, I was there and I did the work. At the same time, if it was like Private 4 and it was an early level weapon skin or something like that, that somebody could go, and if we could find a way to make it compelling, then maybe we'd look at that. So I'm not sure. We're gonna see. So we don't know. But that is something that we're talking about. So I mean, these are these conversations that we're having that we never want to. And a lot of the reasons why we're holding this close to the vest is partially because we don't want to just drip feed out content. At the same time, we don't want until decisions are made and work is being done, we don't want to say something and then it be like, oh, we're not doing it now or what have you. So, but we're trying to increase the transparency, so it is a balance. Um, why is there a delay on bouncing on PC or on console?
Do with the the for in response, etc. Um, with the
Yeah.
frames. Uh,
Yeah, more frames equals less
I
input
can't
delay
talk
is
about it
what Dean
super
was saying.
confidently because I'm not Mike Craner, our technical director. But it's to do with the CPU and the processing time. And so, yeah, on PC you can get a faster response time because of that. Every console game has more input delay than a PC with a really fast CPU. It's just a technical kind of pillar of what's going to happen when you're dealing with, CPUs that are dealing with a lot already on a console versus, a CPU that maybe is even over what the requirements for a game pretty significantly in terms of horsepower. So, yeah, that's just why.
Yeah.
That was probably
And
the crappiest explanation ever, but I'm not a technical director like
and
Mike Rayner, because he explained it to me as well.
yeah, the frame drop on we get that report a few times or periodically, and it's been flagged to the team, and I don't know if we've been able to reproduce it, and that's the hard part. Is I haven't heard an answer yet on why people just part of it's the repro problem. So if you do get a frame drop issue, I know Wicho, you flagged it. You can always just DM me uh, a screen or a video of when it's happened and what you're playing and when and all that kind of stuff. That can always help us. So, are we ever closer to the roadmap, Dana? I have hopes to give an update on that very soon. There's discussion about what would be in that roadmap that we're trying to kind of nail down right now, and that's sort of that's about as transparent as I can be at this point. And there's lots of people that have opinions, and once we get it nailed down, then we'll share with you guys. Mid-operation new content. Who knows? Who knows? We don't talk about things that are coming out. We don't talk about things that aren't already out. That's the rules. You guys know this. It's always soon. Well, the problem with soon is I kind of like, the thing is like soon means we're working on it, and I can't give you an exact date. I'm trying to tell you if we're not working on something, then I want to tell you that no, and if it's not currently in plan. Soon means it's being worked on. I just don't have we just don't have. We're not ready to talk about it just yet for a couple of reasons. One, we're saving it for a marketing beat. Two, the design isn't finalized, so we could be in a scenario by which I could say, oh, it's going to be X, Y, and Z, but actually, as the process of design is netting out, it changes. So there's a couple of things that way. So there's that's the stuff that I have that's what I'm balancing. So the soon is a catch-all, but there is a reason for why I say it. We could go back to the days of sort of right, like kind of early Gears of War 4, where we were just not sort of being transparent at all. So we could change that. I mean, we're trying our best to let you guys know. So that's it. I know it's not as satisfying as you guys want, but it is sort of where we are. Do you guys need more staff to help you work on things? I'm COVID free and willing to relocate. You know what? this is kind of one of those how long is a piece of string? Because we have so many things that we want to work on, it is just a matter of prioritization. We are going through, and the team is working on lots and lots of stuff. But it's not just one person, because there's like what Liam was talking about. You go and come up with a feature, and then you've got to go and get UIs, got to work on how you explain that feature inside of the game, and then we've got to have QA test it. Or we're going to go and do maps, and we can have a designer build a bunch of map levels, but then we have to have artists to go and then build those maps. So it's not something as like, oh, we just need one more person. It's like, it is like, we have more than enough work, and we're moving through, and we're just prioritizing and doing the best we can.
Yeah, we are. We do have an open position on our team though, Dana. So
yeah, we are. We do. Yeah.
If you do have
anybody that wants to come work with me and Liam, I am looking for a community manager. So if you are able to work in Canada or feel like you're qualified for the job, apply, because I definitely would love to have someone that has more Gears knowledge, because Liam is really dropping the ball with his Gears knowledge lately.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I mean, someone didn't like the fact I said Sam Byrne earlier, which means one of two things: either like they pronounce it different, or I'm wrong, and I don't know which one it is. So I know it's Bayern, like Byrne, but is it like said like Bayern or Burn? I always thought it was Burn. Is it Bayern?
I thought it was Burn. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm waiting for chat to catch up so I can find out.
No. Ace, unfortunately, you have to move to Vancouver. So the position is based in the studio here. So yes.
Brian?
No.
Oh, it's BRY?
What? Have I been reading it that wrong forever? Am I like dyslexic with Sam's last name?
I'm pretty sure yeah.
It's
not Brian, is it? If it is, I've really been misreading that for like since Gears 3. In fact, since before Gears 3. Since the books that came out before. Oh my god, is my mind blown? I don't know.
I almost want to Google it right now.
I'm trusting the community on this. I think I've misread it for.
Yes, it's Brian.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, no.
No wonder you were calling me out.
I feel like they're fucking with us, right? All I'm seeing is Cliff as well.
Just quickly Google it.
I'm gonna Google it. Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna be reading the chat for a second.
I'm so ashamed if I've got this wrong for this one.
Gears. I'm typing it with a YR. Gears. I'm gonna go to the Gears of War wiki. BYRNE.
Brian.
It's no.
No, Burn. Fine.
It's well, people are saying, is it Byron or is it Burn? I guess it's not Burn. Sam Byrne. It would be Byron.
I read it as Burn, just spelt in a weird way.
I think it's Byron.
Either way, at least I had the right spelling. It was just a stupid mispronunciation of it.
Byron. Yeah, that's what Raptor's saying.
I'll take that. I'll take a Bayern. Yeah.
Byron. Oh my god.
Okay, I'll take that.
Bairn. Oh, it's Bairn.
Oh,
Ben? This is hysterical. This is.
Oh well, then if it's Ben, that's just my accent. That was all my accent. I swear.
Oh my god.
Samantha Bryan. It's Burn. Yeah, see, someone else said it's Burn. This is like the big debate of Gears 2020
Oh
now.
my. Bjorn.
Someone ping Rod and be like, "Hey, Rod,
how do you
give us
say
the
it?
definitive call." He works with the scripts. He can still tell us.
Yeah. One thing that I will tell you guys that we are discussing internally, and we're waiting to see kind of this is I'm going to fire this under a potential that we're looking at the best way we could do it and timing for that to happen. But that would be doing a developer playlist where we could go and work out certain, whether it's movements or modes or things like that. So that is something that the team is talking about. So I'll give you guys a little bit of that's kind of something that we are in the process. Don't quote me, don't ask me on a timeline for it, a time frame for it, because it's very early days, but it is something that we're talking about. So there we go.
Apologies for my terrible miss.
Buongiorno from Italy. Or he's saying hello, I'm saying buongiorno. But which is, I guess, good day, but it's probably quite late there. So
yeah, it must be like 1 a.m., eh?
Well, then it's buongiorno because it's in the morning.
2
There we go. Or buon notte. But that might be Portuguese. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna have to start sweating. I'm like looking at chat too much.
Here in Italy is too. We have multiple Italians in the chat. I hope you guys are feeling good. Ciao, Dana. Como sta? Well, there we go. Look at this multi-language stuff going on here. Oh, esports! I forgot. We should talk a little bit about esports. We got our big esports event taking place this weekend. We have it's the North American and the Latin American regions that are going to be competing. So make sure you start watching tomorrow on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are going to be giving away skins. We're going to give away headsets from Astro. We're going to be giving away a DX racer chair or multiple DX racer chairs, I think. So there's plus just lots of great gameplay action and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot that there's a mixer chat. Liam, are you able to? Oh my goodness.
I've been trying, but your Skype window's over it right now, and I don't have stream production, so.
Okay.
I will get to you in a sec, Mixer. Promise.
Sorry,
wait,
hold on.
Mixer.
Amy's been putting them into the,
I normally have you running
Amy's
it the whole time, but okay,
Amy's putting them into the Twitter one or into the Teams chat. I'm going to the Teams chat right now, Mixer. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Okay, I'm going to answer a bunch of Mixer questions real quick. Wait. Any information about the allies points and the skill cards on Master Sword? Seeing that nobody answers me. Okay.
Not as yet. I actually will sync with the progression designer. Because I think they're also looking at the re-ups right now, which might actually be a bigger priority. If you don't already know, we're looking at readjusting the re-up curve. Right now, it was kind of designed in this way that was like to give it longevity, like Gears 4, like the ones that we added beyond 20. But beyond 20, the XP rates are just not fun, and we're gonna go look at the. This doesn't mean it's gonna be limited to beyond 20, but we're gonna go look at the re-up XP curve and try and make it a lot more enjoyable and a lot funner. We don't have the same problem with the re-ups that we did with the credit bonus requirement we had to kind of keep in mind for Gears 4. So yeah, we're just trying to we're trying to go fix that and make the re-ups a lot more enjoyable. And part of that is going and redoing the rewards. Whether they come together, who knows? But that's what the team's working towards.
Okay. Oh, hi from Chile. Well, that would be Buenos Aires to the Chilean folks. Can you add Desperado character skins? Ooh, that's an interesting suggestion that we can pass along. Is there any plans for a no melee mode? We would never do a no melee mode. We might do a no melee special event, but I don't think we wouldn't change. That would be such a core thing for the whole game, so I don't see that happening. Hi from America. Hello? Hello? I'm just going to give you hello. There's no Canadians, otherwise I'd do a really bad Canadian accent. Osaka is the no melee mode, right? Osaka would be one, but that's a special event. Like those, I was talking like permanent modes. Andy is hello from Canada. Take off, eh? Like, well, go get yourself a Tim's, huh? That'd be my Canadian accent. Hi from Colombia. Well, Buenos Aires to you as well.
I saw someone saying, where did the question go? I had it. Oh, can we expect Kate, Dell, etc. in Escape in the next operation? We don't talk about those things in advance.
Yeah.
But it's something the team, like getting more characters into Escape is something the team want to get to everybody. Sorry, that's like my because I'm trying to concentrate on a 2v with two Terminators and doing terribly. But the team do want to do that stuff, but because of the balance requirement for those characters, it's something that's going to happen probably. It's just they haven't kind of decided when. It's hard to talk about it without talking about more, but you'll see when we start talking about the PvE changes that are being worked on right now, it will make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to say that we've got some PvE stuff coming that we can't talk about just yet.
Yeah.
So there will be PvE updates coming, and we're deliberately being cagey around that only because some of those things aren't in a spot where we're able to speak to them. But I know that they're underway. Yeah. Okay. And part of that is going to same thing talking about the destroying or the skill cards and that as well. So there's a lot going on. Why are achievement unlocks non-existent since Gears 3? I don't understand. Oh, like having.
Went to meat shield him.
unlocks inside of the or
Well, because the game itself serves them now, right?
yeah.
So it's more about like your tour and your medals and stuff are meant to be the unlocks. There's just different ways of doing unlocks. We already have a problem with one of the pieces of feedback we hear is I complete tour, there's nothing for me to go earn, and the re-up rewards aren't in the right place. There's already a ton of content there, and that constantly gets added. And it's still not hitting the mark. So, adding achievement rewards on top of that would just be, it's just a metric ton of content. Like, there's only so much the team can produce, right? So, it's just a consideration. It's just about picking and choosing where you want the progression stuff to be earned and how. That's all it is.
Yep.
And Gears 3 didn't have like a tour or it had the war journal, right, where you unlock stuff through medals, and leveling up.
And in terms of someone was asking about the operation end date. Right now, there's conversations around that. Obviously, with everybody working from home from COVID, we're looking at what we call velocity, which is how much the team is getting done on kind of where we are with that. So I don't have an update if it's going to move out a little bit, but if it does, I think it would be something that we would classify as COVID related. But right now I haven't heard an update on what that may be. I know that there was a small conversation about if it needed to happen, and if that's the case, we'll give you guys pretty far notice. So, the character skin that Liam is playing with is the Coalition Onyx Guard. So if somebody wants to go and apply for that fine community manager job, you too, in addition to the perks of working with the likes of me and Liam and Andius and Tyrus, you also would get one of these fine skins. Am I selling it too much? Make a COVID skin could be a fundraiser. We actually have a COVID fundraiser pack coming soon, so stay tuned for that. That's going to bring back some content you haven't probably seen since Op 1. So there's going to be some stuff inside of that, including a new mark that is really, really, really on point, so to speak. So there will be a fundraiser for that as well. How do you apply? If you're serious, whatever it is, go to the Coalition Studio, and you'll see our Join Us page, and you can apply through there. When are the fixes coming for Gears Allies, Liam? I think you just talked about the Gears Allies fixes, didn't you?
Yeah,
you did.
I think it's with the re-up curve changes, but to be honest, I need to sync with the progression designer. I used to sit right next to him, so I used to be able to ask these questions on the fly. And now we're obviously remote. It's a little bit harder to remember to ping someone and stuff about that sort of stuff if you haven't been given any updates directly. So apologies for that.
I think one of the things that
check.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of something that, for us, from a communication standpoint, that we benefited a bunch from when we were inside of the studio, was just being able to walk by somebody's desk and do these drive-bys, as we would call them, and just ask and get cut up. Now, to get an update is we have to it's a lot more than just that. Oh, hey, while I'm seeing you, I want to ask you just a quick question. It has to be a very deliberate. So, yeah.
I had him and I missed the up A. Well, not the up A, but
okay.
I missed the roadie shot. I just missed that so bad.
Here we go. Our questions from Mixer that Andy S has nicely dropped in there.
Thank you,
Yes, thanks. Thank you. Why don't the tickers in Tactics make ticking noises? I just wanted to say tickers a lot. I don't know. I'd have to ask that question.
Yeah, I don't know either. I saw that question. I think someone sent that to me on Twitter earlier, and I was like, I don't have this answer yet.
Are you guys slowly moving away from focusing the entire studio on bug fixes and starting to ramp up content creation for upcoming seasons? Those are different teams. So I think that's something that's important for us. And we've talked about this before, is we can have one team that is working on content creation. So we've got our artists that are responsible for characters and for weapon skins and so on and so forth. And then we've got our designers that are working on modes or overall feeling of the game. We've got weapon people. We've got our level designers. We've got there's a variety of people, so it isn't really doing one versus the other. Again, it's more about prioritization of what are the things that we want to get done, and how do we kind of of making sure everybody's working, getting everything done at the same time. Is there a possibility to make it where you can change where your weapon wheel is, like a UI customization? Probably not. That's a big chunk of feature work that if we look at what our backlog is, we wouldn't necessarily that wouldn't be higher priority than a lot of the other more critical work that we think is important. Can you bring back War Journal like in Gears 4?
I'll be honest about that one. So stats take a ton of UI work, and in scoping Gears 5, especially with all the new modes and everything this game has, especially in terms of PvE, like Escape itself was a huge UI requirement. The team just realized that we couldn't do everything that we would want to do to the level we'd want to do it on the UI side. So the stats were kind of a way that we went, okay, well, what we'll do is like we can. Oh, I didn't see that somewhere. I said everyone ever. But we looked at the stats, and the team kind of decided that stats could take a hit in game, and that they would hopefully be able to be supported in more depth on the web, which is why the web has that kind of social stat sharing thing. The web team also, however, were then tasked with doing the tactics site and the esports site, and the new Gears 5 site in time for release of Gears 5 as well. So they've been working pretty flat out on a lot of projects, which is why the stats didn't end up being as deep on the web as well. So it's just a case of prioritization, right? Like you can't necessarily do everything you want to do in the way you want to do it. So the point Dana's saying about unlikely is that there was a reason, and the scope on doing a war journal that was quite extensive in game is quite a lot of work. Like I can't speak to if the team would or could go back to that, but yeah, that's why. Just so you have the answer.
That's part of when we talk about this a bunch. Like whenever there is scope conversations, when the game design is happening, then that is something that that we those are the trade-offs that we make.
Yeah.
So I couldn't think of the
word. And that happens
right
all the time through dev,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like we also have data on how many people actually check stats, and everything like that as well. So like those come into account as well. Like we would have looked at the Gears 4 number of people who are engaging with stats to help decide like, okay, how many things will this feature impact versus how many people will use this feature, right? And so that's not to say that's how all the decisions are made. It's not, but it definitely is a factor when they have to consider like where to put the time and effort.
Well, and I saw somebody put laziness. That's honestly, that's just, you sound stupid when you say that. Like, it's nothing to do with laziness at all. There is literally a list of 1,000 things we can do in the game that all can't be done at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have to sit down and prioritize what's being done in that list. And things take time to work. Like if you're gonna go and try to be funny and flex and get clout in the chat, at least do it like with some intelligence, dude. Like honestly, don't just come here and just be a stupid troll. Like fuck, come on.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, if you've worked on a software project especially, any software has these checks and trades. It's about like you've got X size team, you've got X amount of man hours between that team, and how many man hours is the feature going to take, and that's a huge part. That's that scope calculation, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, the answer is just hire more people, and it's like, well, like, like there's a lot of businesses out there that would love to hire more people to do, to execute the job, but like at the end of the day, we're a business inside Microsoft.
Yeah.
No,
like, there's a budget.
We don't have a blank check in terms of making the
every business has what's known as a P&L, and a P&L is like your profit and loss, and you have to go and you have to sort of manage that.
Yeah.
And this is part of that thing where you're going to go through and regardless of whatever business you are, that's something that you have to manage.
Yeah.
And like I said, the team right now would love to be able to go and deliver and make a bunch of stuff that you guys want. And this is something straight up that it's not a lack of desire, not a lack of hard work. It's just a lack of we've made priorities. We've heard from the vast majority of you guys of what is important to you, and we're making decisions based on not just that, but based on the way people are playing and all of that. And that's like right now, the number one thing that we hear complaints about is ranked. So ranked is a big thing that we're working on when it comes to that. It's not the only thing. There's other stuff that we're working on when it comes to being able to increase the speed at which we produce content and get it to you guys' hands, all of that stuff. There's a lot of things that we've heard from you guys, and we are, and the team is prioritized accordingly to deliver things that people want, the most people want. That's that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So anyways, there we go. Why is the boomer so nerfed? Are we talking like the boom shot, I'm guessing? I don't think the boom shot's nerfed. I know that there was a bug where it didn't blow up people consistently, but that was fixed in Op 3, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Have you guys considered using Gears Tactics customizations to bring in skins to Gears 5? That's an interesting idea, because I've looked at that, because some people are coming up with really, really cool concepts.
My Carmine's on the Gears Twitter. I made the Carmines as best I could.
Yeah,
I thought my Lizzie one was banging. I thought my Lizzie looked so good.
Yeah,
she was like, she looks so like close to what she actually looks like, I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer the question.
Yeah. No, I wish. Right now, I don't. I mean, it's a balance, because there's a lot of fun fan ones. But if we were to go and make, like, Stephanie Jones's favorite weapon character skin, which we agree all looks super rad, but if we were to do that, that means we can't release Bernie or Anya or something like that, because an artist still has to make it.
Well, I think in terms of
that's something that we have to balance out. Plus, there's ownership.
If you meant more the heroes, then I think like we totally love the fact that people are digging the tactics characters and villains and new enemies and all that stuff. And I don't think anyone here is opposed to that idea. But it's not it's not a case of hit copy, hit Control V, put it in.
No, there's
a big difference in what tactics is versus 5. So.
Yeah. Well, and the fidelity in tactics versus the fidelity in Gears 5 is significant, right?
Especially from a rig standpoint. Oh god, that was the worst boom of my life.
Was the boom shot stun intentional? Characters will stagger compared to being blown up. I wasn't aware of that. Were you aware of that, Liam?
Nope. If you have a video, please tweet us.
Keith, can you DM that to me if there's a video, and I can flag that? Thanks, Keith. You gonna re-release the sweaty packs? You never know. I mean, who knows kind of what's going on with those ones? We know those were very popular. I think you missed an opportunity with the new mold because it should have been called Thrash Ball, but it wasn't Thrash Ball. I mean, Thrash Ball was a legit thing, even though it's Gridiron. It was inspired a bit by Thrash Ball, but it wasn't Thrash Ball, so to speak.
I saw someone say next week, juicy or low expectations. The only thing I'm going to say is, like, I'm going to say I think you'll be happy and you'll find it cool. I wouldn't say, like, just to make sure no one thinks this is what we were alluding to. It is not the new ranking system.
No. So there we go.
But I think you'll be excited and you'll be happy.
When you fix it, when will you fix matchmaking? Being with 4 bronze against 5 onyx is not fair at all. One of the things that we're hopeful with the new rank system is it's actually going to kind of mitigate that as well. So you're not going to see that matchmaking impact, which is something that we know is not satisfying. So the belief is the new matchmaking system is going to will hopefully mitigate that some way. Um, so that's just something that we can talk a little bit about that. But there you go. War Machine is already in the game in 2v2, so please add it to the game. Well, part of War Machine is in 2v2, not all of War Machine. So, but that would
That's
be
one of those
again.
questions we don't have an answer to, though, right? Like, it's a good question.
Yeah, I'd have to ask that one. I can ask Garrett that.
Hack Squad's going off, by the way. Woo!
Who is?
Oh, just someone in the game.
Oh. Maybe a future event with an endless spawn gridiron that only ends with the flag being taken.
That's a cool idea. I'd play that. I love
Like
that.
with a touchdown being scored. So basically, it's a touchdown mode with respawns. What do you think? Like 5-second respawns? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you respawn on character, or would you respawn in your
I don't know. These are all questions to answer through design, but I love the idea. Just the
only thing that I can see becoming a potential issue is you could see a team that basically had the flag could, if we were spawning like TDM style where it was in somebody's spawn point, they could basically just sit there and then just meat grind people as they preventing people from they didn't, all they wanted to do was just troll, and they would just shred people.
But I mean, as a special event, it's like
it would be fun for a special event for sure, but I could see someone basically being really snatchy about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to get ranked execution back? You know what? When Gears 5 launched, we didn't launch execution with ranked because it wasn't very popular in Gears 4. And then we heard a bunch of outcry, and we said, cool, we're going to put it back into Gears 5. Provided, and if you guys keep playing it, we're happy to keep doing it. So when we put it back into Gears 5, it was very popular, and then over time, it became one of our least played playlists, which is why we pulled it out of put it out of rank. We love execution. We know it's a classic mode. The trick is for the amount of people that complained to me on Twitter about execution being in the game actually played the mode, then it would still be in a ranked playlist, because right now it just was it was just something that people weren't playing. So I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but we don't have a vendetta against any modes. We want to go and deliver a satisfying ranked experience for everybody, or satisfying play experience for everyone. And if a mode isn't sort of meeting playlist expectations or population expectations, it becomes satisfying, and then it becomes this catch-22. Is like what Levo just said, like, oh, I can't find a match, therefore I can't play, and it becomes this cycle of people then stop looking. Yeah. So, but it started out very popular, so to where it would have been really easy to find a match, and then it became less and less popular. So it's not something that we wouldn't, right now there aren't any plans to bring it back to ranked. You can see it coming back as special events at some points, but we're not sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I see like some people being like, "Oh, you guys like spit in the face of the OG Gears players." Like no one wants to do this stuff. Like the worst thing in the world for us is feeling like we have to take something away from people who want it. For a long time, our stance was, if people wanted to play the game mode, it didn't matter if the population was really small compared to the other playlists, because at the end of the day, it's what they want to play. But from a matchmaking experience, what we were seeing by having something like execution is exactly what Dana said. We're getting this flood of people complaining about, the skill matchups aren't fair, the waiting times are crazy, I can't find games with squads, and a lot of them were coming from playlists like execution that just didn't have the player count, frankly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially compared to the other modes. So, like, it's checks and balances, right? Like, on the one hand, we're providing an experience that anyone can play, but on the other hand, it's a crappy experience that more and more people are leaving because it's a crappy experience, and because of population, and it's just not there popularity-wise, right? I think the bigger thing for us is, like, custom lobbies exist, so you can still play execution and find people who want to play execution. Obviously, progression doesn't exist there, and that's something that we're still thinking about and talking about. But what we hope is that if you really want to go play execution, then you can go do that through custom lobbies. We still see those games getting kind of filled up. But from a matchmaking standpoint, we just have to make sure we're serving things that players can get into and have a good time. We're hoping that at least if you are an execution player, that Gridiron's scratching that itch for you on single limb. But we get you, like, no one wants to do it. It's not that we're just disregarding you. It's just we have to look at what the feedback we're getting and the kind of make decisions based on data and feedback. So it's just one of those hard things to balance.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna call it at this.
I'm not scratching anyone itches. No. Sorry, people making funny comments.
This chat went into a different spot than I was expecting.
Sorry, just before you close up, I actually want to address something here, which is someone said Wingman would be the most popular game mode if you brought it back. Now, I love Wingman. I'm a huge Wingman fan. And who knows what the future could hold for Gears 5. It could be there. It could be something we end up doing. It could not. Who knows? However, that's what the community said about FFA. And FFA, while it has a good population, hasn't lit the world on fire. It's not the most popular playlist or anything, right? And let's just say it's not worth doing. Like, it's still got a population. It's still got people finding it. But there is a variance in the kind of experience people like. And this is the point we always make about, like, we have a really vocal, hardcore community, which is amazing and passionate. And we have to take a lot. And we do take a lot of stock in what you say. But at the same time, like, you know, there's a lot of passionate players who don't talk. Like, people who are, like, they're not casuals. They're not people who touch the game once a week. They're playing just as often but don't talk, who maybe aren't as into those sorts of things. So we're always trying to find those balances, right? Because, like, if you look at the internet, FFA was going to, like, be the best thing ever. And maybe FFA is less popular because we're on the tiles, and maybe when we do the 5v5, like, there'll be a resurgence in it, or like the 5v5 maps, be a resurgence in it, that sort of thing. But there is a kind of like a thing we're always looking at where it's like, you know, we take stock in what the vocal's saying, but then sometimes it doesn't align. A lot of times it does, and it's great representation. But yeah, it's just one of those funny things. And I just wanted to point out when someone said Wingman that, like, you know, FFA was an interesting experience.
Yeah, and I think for us, or I know for us, I'm not even going to say I think, for us right now, our priority is going and much like what Jamie talked about, is working on some of those foundational aspects. And, you know, while we're really proud of Gridiron and we think it's great and we believe that it is going to be that it will continue to resonate as a very popular Gears mode. We won't, before we start adding more stuff to the game from a mode standpoint, we really want to make the experience of playing Gears feel more satisfying.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to be seeing us working on over the coming months. And as we get to that, then once we've sort of created this experience where people are feeling like they enjoy the process of ranked and they feel like a bunch of other things that have been worked on, then you're going to see us potentially going back and looking at it that way. But right now, we don't want to be going and putting out, I'm going to use Wingman just as an example because of what we were just talking about. You know, adding Wingman right to where the game is right now, we don't feel is great. We feel like we've got other things that we can do to make the game better. That if we were then to add Wingman, not saying we are, but if we were to add it, then, you know, it's creating a better environment for being successful.
Yeah,
and yeah.
So you go.
No, I was going to say, so that's kind of where we are, and that's where the studio's focus is right now.
Yeah, to use your house analogy, it's like we had the house built and we found out that, like, if the earth shakes, it's very unstable. So we're kind of going back and making sure the foundations are so stable that, like, when we add more to the house, it's not gonna shake. It's gonna stay solid.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a mansion, hopefully.
Yeah, people saying show us the opponent's rank after matches. Wait until we have our new rank system, and then we can have some conversations around that. But asking for specific rank fixes right now isn't something that you're going to get, because frankly we're overhauling the entire rank system. So, but what is the motivation behind the comment you're making is people want to see what is the caliber of opponents they're playing against, and how do they match up. So we're hearing what you're saying with that. But in terms of actual adjustments to rank, we're not going to make anything to our current rank mode.
Yeah, like that stuff feedback we're bearing in mind when we make the new one that's in development now. Like, we're kind of like the truth of the matter is that unless we get surprised by the team, there won't be any changes to the current ranking system at this point, because it's all going into the new one that's going to replace it. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say as well.
It sounds like there's a ghost behind me. I don't know what was
Yeah, I know.
behind me.
Yeah. As well, like thanks for all the feedback and saying like, oh, if FFA was ranked, I'd play it. Totally, we know that. And hopefully, when we have the new rank system, it's something we can consider. Just the amount of time it would take investment-wise to make the current ranking system work for a single man mode where you can, like, most people in there are not winning. So you have to kind of bear in mind performance, which no other mode really has in terms of like finishing, where you finish. They can take into account who you're killing and the quality of people you're killing and being killed by, but it doesn't have anything in it right now that can like go, oh, well, you finished third. I can look at all the caliber of people in the match and make a determination on what your win should be worth on top of your personal performance on who you killed and who you were killed by. So yeah, like that again, we're moving away from the system, so that's the reason that we didn't do that, is because it would have taken a lot of investment just to do that. So hopefully with the new one, it's something we can revisit. But
well, anyways, thank you guys for stopping by. Sorry if I was a little testy at times. We call it not leaving my house for months on end. But the ghost hand is on. Anyway, who knows what's going on? So I'm distracted by the ghost in my on the chat. But thank you guys for stopping by. I do appreciate the feedback that you guys give us.
yeah, really,
I do like
truly.
when you come and you guys ask these questions. I do. You know, we are trying to be as transparent as we possibly can. When there is something that we can talk about, we are more than happy to talk about it. We're happy to talk about something to the extent of which we can. We know there are things that you guys want answers to, that we have that information, and there's a little bit of a gap between what we can say and what you guys want to hear right now. But at the same time, that's games, man. I don't know if there's any other game studio in the world that is going to be able to give you 100% transparency about everything that they're working on, as far out as some of the stuff that we're working on. So that's just candor from us, that, you know, we're sharing the most that we can in the best way that we can, and, you know, we want to be able to give you guys the information that you have, that we have. So and it, you know, if that's not satisfying for you, then I'm sorry. Said like a true Canadian, but it is you know, we are doing our best to keep you guys informed. So
yeah, I think I said it about myself. It's there's a lot of things we want to talk about, but if we talk about them too early, we can put ourselves into a bit of a trap where things change, and then you kind of get into this really weird situation where people are like, well, you said this thing, why is it this thing? And that sounds like it's not a problem, but we've seen that happen before,
yeah,
and the issues that happen with it. So we're trying to talk about things as early as we can and be as transparent as we can. But we also have to be cautious about, like, there's a line, right? There's a line between, like, you know, talking about something too early and then lots of things change and people are just like, what are they even doing? What's happening? Which is just normal game dev. You know, things change a lot during development, and then that point where it's like, okay, it's solid enough that we can start talking to you about it. So hopefully this drought isn't going to last too much longer in terms of talking about all these things that we've said are in the works. It's just, you know, when that time happens, we'll be the first there. We're going to be like typing like crazy, just trying to get out. I know that Dana and I would both love to talk to you about everything going on. So
well, thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the esports event taking place nowhere or everywhere, depending if you would like. What was the Texas major, and I'm super bummed about that because that would mean me going back home to Texas, but is going to be happening online this weekend, so make sure you check it out. There will be skins that you can earn. You can just watch and win skins, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Some amazing gameplay. It's a bit trickier this time around. There's going to be double elimination. So because of the online nature, we want to give people, make sure that there's not a one and done kind of scenario. So lots of interesting things. We've had some team changes. So Reciprocity is going to be tight in defending their crown against the newly revamped UIU or UU or whatever the hell however it's pronounced. Plus, there are lots of other ones that it's going to be a bit trickier. Some of our strong LATAM teams made some poor decisions last weekend and aren't going to be competing. So who knows what's going to happen? So I predict you're going to see the top teams are
It's
going to be
going
a
to be
bit
an
different.
interesting
So
tournament, that's for sure.
it's
Yeah.
going to be fun. So make sure you check it out and
I
watch
just
that.
like, can I just say, I really hope I know this is a weird thing to hope for, and it's going to sound kind of creepy coming off it, but I'm going with it. I really hope that like someone wins the tournament and they're just in their like boxers or something. You know, like this is an online major where like no one's gonna know if you've actually got dressed for work, right? So I
Oh,
just
in
kind
their
of love the idea that
boxers.
someone's gonna be
I thought
sitting in
you
their
were talking
pants,
about
just
them
like,
like playing
sweet,
in
I
a
won
box.
250 grand or whatever it is, right? So I know I'm weird. I was thinking about it the other day when we were talking about it. I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and I know that Keith was or Rubix, who was the coach of Elevate, he was just in the chat. The coaches are a bit different. The role they play is a bit different when it's online, so they're more of an analyst role because in the moment it's a bit harder. So it's there is some. Uh,
Optus fancy. Sorry. Sorry.
exactly. Optics is
I'm
dreaming
not.
of
I'm not
praise in
saying
his
they're on
boxers.
camera. That's the point. It's like when you have a voice meeting, right? Like you don't know what's on the other side of the camera, that sort of thing.
I could not be wearing pants right now. You guys wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, on
Weird
that
bombshell.
charming note, but thank you everybody for stopping by. Um, I think Andius, let's throw a host out to I don't know. Let's host Landon, a partner that's online right now. Seems to be the one that I can see. And if you guys are sticking around, make sure you go and watch him. Give him some love. Trash talk him. Oh, Hannah, hello, friend of mine, Hannah from England. Nice to see you. And we'll see you guys next week. And make sure you watch the esports event, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks, Liam. Thanks,
See you
everybody.
then. Thanks, everybody. I have to do an awkward lean to turn off all of my stuff. Bye.
With your bitch ass!
All right, everyone, that is it for the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It truly does mean a lot that you guys stopped by. Today, I'm just gonna chill out, get something to eat, and I hope you guys are gonna have a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to stay tuned this Friday. I'll be doing a live stream with, of course, an open lobby with you guys, and I hope I just hope to see you guys there. And yeah, let's get it down this weekend. Let's have a fun time, man. But again, thank you everyone that's of course stopped by and watched the live stream from the beginning to the very end. It looks like this live stream has been going on for a good hour and 41 minutes. That is crazy. All right, and also support my last video that I did earlier today. It's a mod video, and just let me know what you guys think inside the comment section. And yeah, hope you guys are gonna have a wonderful night. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for everything Gears of War related. Until next time, guys, peace.